Greetings, creeps, and welcome to the That Sick podcast, where we look at the intersection of horror movies, horror games, and the horror of existence as two sick little freaks obsessed with the genre and the way it connects across mediums. This is the first official episode of the podcast, and one of 3 pre-recorded episodes, along with the pilot, that we put together before launch. So that means we would love to hear your feedback to make this pod as sick as its name going forward. Speaking of names, though, I'm Ash, joined by Josh, and today we're diving into the mucky, pulsating depths of Together from 2025. Get your galoshes on.
Ash, I've been wanting to talk about Together, well, on this podcast before this podcast even existed, truth be told. Yeah. This was one of the episodes that made me want to do a podcast because I thought the type of themes that this film touches on and the relationship drama in it on top of all of the body horror would be perfect to dive into. And I rewatched the film again last night in preparation for this, and it was even better than I remembered it being. This is one of my favorite films of the last couple of years for sure in terms of horror, and I think it's pretty much, for me, the perfect intersection between the more arty, elevated horror of the past decade and just pure, we're going to go balls to the wall, practical effects, body horror shenanigans.
Yeah, literally like balls on the wall as well, with some bits of it. Balls stuck everywhere. This is not going to be a PG-13 episode, I will tell you right now, because there is balls.
There is balls.
I didn't actually have anything else. There's actually, I think it's just shaft. I don't even think there is balls. It's mostly shaft.
It's shaft.
Yeah.
It's mostly shaft.
It's like
and
pure shaft.
Pubic area. Yeah, that's mostly what it is. And it shocked me again. That scene, even though I was prepared for it. We'll get to it, but that scene, even though I was prepared to it, I forgot about the visible shaft on display. And it kind of ruined my night again.
Did it? I love it, honestly.
It did.
I think more hog in films, genuinely. Like, I've seen so much titty in so many films over the years, which I also love, but like, I do feel like a hog advocate. Like, Dick Terror and Dick Reveal, all these things. I'm like, show me, let's see it. It's important. It's cinema, baby.
It is. Let's get more of it in. I feel like we're getting a little bit better with the knob terror in horror movies recently. A lot more explicit private parts on display in that regard.
Oh my God, yeah.
Surprisingly, from Dave Franco, not that I imagine it is his physical, thing. Yeah. That's all I've got there, thing.
His
but
thing.
You know what I mean? Like,
his
still,
member.
it's attached to Dave Franco. The point is, if you don't know what Together is, should we go through a plot synopsis of this thing? Because otherwise, we're just going to end up talking about Dave Franco's private parts for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think, yes, we will have a little talk about the plot of Together as a refresher for anybody listening, or if you're into your spoilers, then a big old review of what it is. And then we've got some fun facts, a bit of prologue about the film, and then we can discuss the good, the bad, and the fun facts, because that was my 3 sections this time. Usually it's like the good, the bad, and the something else. This time it's the fun facts, because I have a little section for those. So yeah, Josh, do you want to do the plot? You did so well for Return to Silent Hill when that was.
You know what? I was really hoping you'd take the lead this time, but considering it's my pick, this one I will go for it. Yeah, Together is pretty much a two-hander. It stars real-life couple Alison Brie and Dave Franco as Tim and Millie, and they are starting a new life in a kind of like countryside, small town area. They're moving from the city after 10 years together, and they're moving for Millie's job. She is starting a new career as a teacher. She wants to change lives, essentially. Tim, however, is quite emotionally stunted, and he doesn't really want to move. He wants to stay behind with his friends and his music demos because he's got this idea of unfulfilled potential in terms of music. They move amidst a bunch of family drama as well. Tim's parents, his father died, and his mum kind of had a psychotic break, essentially, where she was living with the corpse of his father for days at a time. Tim found them and is still suffering trauma from that during the move. Once they move to this new area in this new house, they end up going on a hike and falling down a pit into a mysterious and, quite frankly, grotesque hole where they drink some... It's wet. Drink some contaminated water. That begins to merge their bodies. So over the next few days, Tim especially starts to suffer these strange moments of kind of like psychic inference, I suppose, psychic damage where him and Millie are connected physically and mentally, and their bodies are literally trying to merge together to create one person, as it turns out. So over the next few days, Tim is going more and more crazy. Millie initially doesn't believe him, and then ultimately does, because she's like, this is crazy, and some freaky things are happening. All the while they're trying to deal with this, there is a neighbor who is getting close to Millie, and it is eventually revealed towards the end that he is part of this cult that gets people together in this cave, in this old church that has now been destroyed and is part of this underground network. He's part of this cult that welcomes people together to go through this merging and kind of reach this enlightened state. He calls it the ultimate intimacy in divine flesh to go through this process. He did it with his husband back in the day, and the film ultimately ends with the two characters realizing that they cannot fight this transformation that's happening to their bodies, and they can either die and kind of choose to kill themselves or to embrace it and merge into one person. And I think that's pretty much all the main beats, right? Like, there's some specifics that I've missed there, but that's the general 3-act structure.
Yeah, hot dog. That was great. Yeah, and at the end, they do go, right, it's Tilly time. That's what they call it, Tilly, because it's Tim and Millie. There's my addition to the plot rundown.
I like that.
Yeah, and that's a fun fact as well, because that's what they called it. But yeah, that is the rundown of Together. I really like the cult flavour of this film, like how what we can only describe unless you've seen it is kind of all of these spirals and bells and kind of this very, very folky horror vibe of this kind of underground church that's fallen through the floor, that's turned into this mucky hole that feels very natural but is actually the remnants of something man-made that's then like infected the area as well. I think there's so much like in the woods of it all that feels so amazing, that's then kind of like transforms through this natural urge to then mesh together as well. It literally is like the when being close to someone isn't enough and you want to crawl inside their skin. I was going to say meme, but just like mindset, you know?
Just truth.
Yeah, like sometimes, like I feel like everybody in their life has a relationship, or at least a point in a relationship, multiple ones maybe, where it's like, I simply must crawl up inside you. Let me in!
I think come on, we must become Tilly. I think this is what resonates so much with the film, because if you've probably guessed, like, the human drama in relationship drama is echoed all the way through with this idea of them like coming together, and like the physical manifestation of that overall relationship, with Tim initially being hesitant. He particularly wants to be viewed as his own person, and he is kind of becoming more and more stressed that he is viewed as like a part of Millie rather than having his own dreams and aspirations or whatever it is, kind of supported in that way. And he can't quite get around this idea of coexisting with someone and sharing your life in that way. And ultimately, I guess, I think it's a positive message ultimately about embracing that idea and being like, you know what, this life, if you choose to go down this really monogamous route or whatever, is about like letting someone else in. It's about being fine sometimes with being not the main character of your life, prioritizing someone else in a way that is genuinely selfless and not selfish, or you're not getting anything from it. It's just because you want to be with this person, you want to live with them, you love them, so you are going to make sacrifices along the way with your own personal autonomy or whatever it is, you know, or perspective of yourself.
This is so interesting because I find Together a really scary horror film purely because, like, I'm an only child, man, and like if I don't have my autonomy, I got nothing. Like, I definitely love the romanticism of the body horror in it, but and also this kind of desperate need to be together. And their choice at the end, I think, is actually a very peaceful and beautiful one, but it also is one of desperation. Basically, it's like, I can't live without you, so I'll live within you. Like like I do feel that there's also an argument to be made of this being a film about losing oneself so completely in a relationship that you're no longer defined as yourself anymore, which is literally what our man Tim fears the most as well. So it's like, has he got Stockholm syndrome about it? Is this beautiful and romantic, or is this literally like the cult getting into his brain? Because everybody's telling him how beautiful romance and love should be, whereas actually to me it seems like he's got a lot to figure out for himself. Not to defend a man, you know what I mean? Not to defend a man, but like, I do. This is one of the few films where I do think him being selfish, having his dreams and wanting to pursue them. Like, there's something very sad to me about people going, "Oh, well, you're 30. There's no way you can do a band or tour the world, or you're not going to be successful in music." Like, to me, that feels incredibly like, yes, he can. Like, why don't you believe in him? Why aren't you like? But he's made these choices. He makes lots of choices that are supposed to be the right ones, but don't, like, it doesn't work in their relationship. So he also messes it up a lot and is selfish as well because he doesn't understand the give and take of that. Oh, it's an interesting.
Well, I love
one.
this. And this is exactly why I wanted to talk about it, because I was wondering which side of this argument you kind of came down on. And I don't think there's a right or wrong side by any means. And I'm going to get into a quote from the creators in a second that kind of talks about the ambiguity and the different perspectives people bring to the film. But I do think ultimately, like, the message of the film is just relationships are messy, identity is messy. You're never going to get this, like, perfect thing. Everyone's going to bring something to the table that's a little bit different, and it's about navigating that very human experience, right? But, like, keeping on the topic of the ending, in an interview with the Guardian, Dave Franco said, quote, "We've talked to single people who say this is a very strong argument for staying single, and then we talked to a couple who were in a fight all week, and the film actually helped them make up. Some people find the ending optimistic and romantic, others find it horrifying." The Guardian says, "How do the stars feel?" And they said, "We find it optimistic. We're in a pretty healthy relationship." And I think that's interesting, right? Because I've been in a relationship for a long time. I've been in a relationship for like the same amount of time as the characters in the film. And I think maybe because of that, I relate to it so much more and kind of, not saying I relate to it more than you, by the way. I just mean like in terms of that optimistic view of the end. Like, I feel like I see myself a lot in that idea. And I kind of have to hope that it is an optimistic ending and, like, overall a nice message, even though I do share your idea about Tim, you know, being this person who gives up that centrality to himself. A lot of people, rightly so, just do not want to do that. And that is, it gets to a certain point in any relationship, I think, where you have to decide, right, which one am I prioritizing here? And I don't think it makes you a bad person to go one way or another, but it is a decision that a lot of people have to make, and you can put it off for a long time, but at a certain point, it's like, no, your life's going to change in a way that supports one or the other, and you need to be okay with the way that it goes, and it needs to be something that you think about eventually, I suppose.
No, for sure. I think it's really interesting because, like, it just from your perspective as well, that you've been together so long and you've got that kind of parallel. And like on the other side of it, I do think there's a really like gendered view of it as well that could be argued. You know, like, it's really like, but there's subversions to it as well, because like I think like Tim kind of been this quite masculine, boyish character, like that he's the man, air quotes, you know what I mean, like that he's that takes on that role, and then is also the one that wants like this centrality, wants to be supported, wants to be the person that gets to live their dreams, and kind of looks down on this domestic life that his girlfriend slash fiance is pushing for as well. Like, I think that's really interesting because it's like that gender role, that kind of like societal expectation of things as well, and kind of Alison Brie's character getting to push back against that in some aspects, and then kind of like figuring out her relationship with it as well. It's like, okay, I really want this and our relationship, but I also do need like lines and boundaries and to figure out the mess as well. The way they play with it's really good, and that they then got like a same-sex couple in there as well with Jamie and his partner to kind of balance that out and see the other side of it too. I just think there's loads of really interesting things you could pick apart about men and women in Tim and Millie's representations, and that I kind of relate with the masculine side more, I think is interesting.
Yeah.
But I do think that comes with from a point of I've been radicalized by past relationships where I have been with a man who has a very strong sense of self, a very strong sense of who they are, what they do, and me as a girlfriend is like their sidekick. I'm like a supporting character. We're not partners. I'm like just, they're just somebody that supports them, that is like a satellite in their universe, in their planet. I add to it, but I'm not like center stage, and that's been more than once as well. That's not like a specific call out to anybody. That's happened a few times, and I've clocked it and gone, actually no, this isn't for me. And I've been like I think like I've come off the back of like, I'm in a relationship now after a year of being very decidedly single, to think about like how I want to center myself, and then watching something like Together again and being like, like I think it's just, oh, I don't even know how to describe it. I feel like just kind of explaining it, laying it out, feels cathartic as well, because it's like, well, I definitely see that part of Dave Franco's character that I feel really sorry for, that I just want to give him like a hug and say it's okay to do your own thing. You don't have to be trapped in this thing that doesn't feel right, but that he works at it and then figures out this relationship as well, like I think is really beautiful. But it is by literally merging with the woman that he was trying so hard to get away from, and separate himself from, and like he has to give his life, because she's dying at the end. The only way that she'll live is if they merge. He has to give his whole life. He can't just give a piece of himself. It has to be everything for them to become one person and lose every piece of himself. And that, I think, is scary. I think that's really scary. I think that's toxic,
That's interesting. I love the perspective you're bringing to this now, that idea of if you've been in one of those relationships where you are viewed as, like you said, someone who orbits the life of someone else and you're never going to get that full partner status. I think that is like just so valid and like what a lot of people have to ultimately deal with, because that kind of connection where it is one-to-one, where it is shared in that way, where it's like equal in terms of what you give in what you take. I think that is like that's so rare to find, and I can only imagine like there's nothing worse than being in that situation where you're not viewed almost as like a full person, a full person who like deserves the spotlight in their own right, or deserves to be treated like as a full person. And I guess, like you said, for yourself, just knowing you personally, Ash, like knowing that you are Ash Milburn, who is very good at a lot of things, who is very much like this very charismatic, like dominant personality. Like I almost, funnily enough, can't imagine you not being like the thing that people orbit around. If that makes sense.
It's me, guys. I'm the toxic man.
No, I'm not saying that you're lying and that's what's been going on this whole time. Just, outside of a romantic relationship, that's how I know what you are. So I imagine it's especially difficult for someone to be like, okay, well, I don't think you're a side character in my life now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, you know what, and like just being open, I think it's like chronic insecurity, and I see that in Dave Franco's character as well, which makes me have that pity for him, where I'm like, okay, like I get it. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean he's a good person. That doesn't mean that he has an excuse. And equally, you can argue Millie's side and Alison Brie's side, where she is giving so much, and she is giving everything she can to make this work, to like just to be loved by this person and be included in their life, and that kind of pushing away of it as well. Like I think you can argue both sides from my experiences as well. I think you can see that in both of them, which is why I wanted them to just be like, leave each other alone. Like, you need someone that gives that to you, Millie, and Tim, you need to go and do your own thing so that you can give that to someone else as well. Because it's just like, do you believe in soulmates?
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I really would like to. I do think, if I don't believe outright in soulmates, I do genuinely think, to steal a line from, I think it's Before Sunset, like, there are only a few people that you will connect to throughout your entire life that will be a connection that is, like, super real. Like, you can be friends with so many people, but I'm talking, you almost get them on a molecular level, you know? So I think if you would define that as a soulmate, I would absolutely say yes.
Yeah, see, I feel the same way. I feel like you can have a meaningful relationship with many different people at many different points in your life, because you're never the same person when you start these things and when you meet people and when you grow with them. But finding that person that you want to grow with, that you understand, that, like, you know, is super important, is rare. And, you know, you can make any relationship work. The ones that matter will work without making them. And I think that's a take on soulmates and relationships and love. Which is why watching this, I was like, it didn't give me the soulmate experience. You know what I mean? It's like, I know you guys are drawn to each other, but, like, surely there's something better. I don't know. I think I'm obviously, like, I was so invested in the romance part of this, but I thought it was a really interesting way of doing body horror and telling a horrific story that was also a love story, like something like Spring as well, which feels very, like, romantic, beautiful, leans on the love of everything, but it not working out and things feeling, like, off as well. Horror and romance definitely are an interesting. I keep saying it's interesting. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
It's interesting. It's fascinating, actually. About it's just a great combo for seeing how people really feel about things, and what is, oh my god, that's beautiful, versus, oh my god, that's deeply unsettling. And sometimes it's a bit of both in it as well. Like, sorry, just to jump off the end here. I think truly in the right relationships, it's both. Like, it's not one thing, it's not the other, and it is messy and gross and wet and sticky, and people are, like, foul and like, but you are, as a human, we're all gross little sacks of fluid, you know what I mean? And, like, also there's something to be said about their relationship being so gross and wet and interconnected, and them being okay with it. Obviously they're stressed out, but, like, they become okay with it. They're like, I want to share everything.
Yeah. I want to go back to what you said there about, like, the sort of gendered depiction of it, because I think that also goes hand in hand with horror's kind of exploration of those romantic relationship dynamics. Like, it's a more extreme example, but I always think about Midsummer and the relationship between I can't remember the guy's name, but it's Florence Pugh's character. I've not watched this film in a while, and her, like, terrible boyfriend, who was just the worst guy, like the most emotionally kind of, like, cut off bloke. And I do think there's something in that is, like, very truthful, especially in this relationship in Together, where you have this guy who is kind of, like, complaining about his dreams, and they're all incredibly valid, but he can't almost see the work and, like, the unseen sort of, like, labor that his girlfriend is doing to help him in certain ways or whatever. And there's that centralizing aspect of him going, well, you know, I'm an artist. This should, why is this not working out for me in the way that I thought it was going to be? The default, I think, for a lot of, like, guys in relationships especially, is like, well, you know, everything, it's the me story, and I'm this creative or whatever it is. Surely this should be where, like, the focus is. I deserve this, or I've earned it, or what have you. And I think we see that crop up in relationship dynamics in horror quite a lot, and I just find that, again, to steal a phrase from you, quite interesting.
It's quite interesting,
overall.
isn't it? But yeah,
Very
like
interesting.
Millie just absolutely becoming the satellite, like putting herself in satellite position, because that happens as well. You do that, you make yourself satellite as much as you are like pushed into one. Like, we all want to be a Tim sometimes, which I think is why this one's so good, because you can relate with both characters on both sides. Everybody's been the person who was given more in a relationship and the person who has been on the receiving end of more as well, and finding that
Yeah.
balance and equaling out that guilt of both sides is really, really important. Oh, it's making me feel like bad in the stomach, Josh.
Go on, why?
I don't know.
What's getting you?
I think it's
You just
just thinking about it all, like not in a serious like everything's bad way, but it's just I don't think I quite clocked how intricate all of the interpersonal relationships were in this to how I feel about them as well, until talking about
Yeah.
it more, because like the stuff I've written down is like very icky, love the practical effects, and like thinking about it now, like that feels very me, where I've gone, oh yeah, I really like this film, and gone, it's because of all the goo, and then actually gone, oh no, actually yeah, it's because it's a really incisive look at human nature and psychology.
I like that thing that you said about like soulmates. I find it so interesting. Like, I love your perspective on this film just because it is so inverse to what I got from it or what I took away from it. Because yeah, like there's a lot about the characters that I don't like, and there's a lot about the relationship that I don't like. But that idea of if you find a soulmate, if you find one of those connections, like should it always be this easy thing? I think like yes and no, and I do think a relationship, romantic or otherwise, right? Like it needs work, to steal a cliche. You
Yeah,
need
it
to work
does.
at it. You need to manage it almost. You need to keep on top of it. You can't take like things for granted. And I think what's interesting about this, there's that word again, is that like Tim, I think, has become like very complacent like all the way
Yes.
through. Like they mention it a few times, and there's one great line that has stayed with me since I've seen it. You can tell when I'm like getting excited about like a film and something, because I start like reverting to the way that I used to speak when I was in school, so lots of slang and whatnot.
That's
but
sick.
there's a great line. Yeah, there's a great line where Millie asks Tim in bed, where she just says, "Do you love me, or are you just used to me?" And I just think that's so indicative of a lot of long-term relationships where you cannot imagine your life. And I think this is also something Tim says, like, I cannot imagine my life without you. But that doesn't necessarily mean what you've just said is romantic or loving. It might just be matter of fact of, I don't know who I am without you, and I'm scared to learn, and I'm scared to figure that out. Like, I am very comfortable with you. Do I love you, though? Am I in love with you still?
Yeah.
Or do you make things easy? Do you make my life easy? Is it pleasant to be with you? And is that enough? Is that not enough?
Yeah.
I don't know what answer they come to at the end. I like to think optimistically it's a realization of, oh, we do love each other. We need to make this work. But your perspective of, is it just convenient if we merge and don't die and live out a potentially compromised life? That's not how I see it, but I can see that reading coming across really well.
Have you ever heard a song called Paradise by the Dashboard Light by Meatloaf?
Ashley Millman, when I was 13 years old, I did Paradise by the Dashboard Light karaoke.
Did you? Oh my
I
god!
did.
I've been trying to, oh my god, I've been trying to sing this on karaoke for years, ever since I saw someone perform it in a little local youth cafe, and was like, I'm obsessed with this song, and it was two men, and I'm obsessed with these two men doing this. Josh Brown, I need to see you sing Dashboard by the Paradise Light. Oh,
Next time
Paradise by the
we
Dashboard
go
Light.
to a karaoke bar,
Yeah.
we will do this duet. It has been 13 years in the making,
Oh
if not
my
longer,
God, yes.
for me. Though I would like, I don't know, which part would you want to do? We're going completely off topic now, but
I know. I think. Let's reverse it. I'm got to Meatloaf this. I got to Tim it.
I like it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's book it in.
But the thing is, though, I mention it because it feels like that to me, where he's so desperate to make something work. He really wants it. He wants everything, but he's not thinking anything with longevity. He doesn't have the emotional strength to be able to consider the consequences of his selfishness on other people. But he still has his own wants and desires that he needs to figure out. And then they commit. They merge, and he's like, I'm waiting till the end of time to finish it off. That's kind of how it feels for me. It's like you're stuck with the consequences of your actions. It's like you've been in this relationship, you've been too frightened to cut it off. You want to explore these other options, but can't make a decision either way. And the guilt is eating you alive of not being sure if you love this person or not, even though you should, and you should, and all of your life is intermingled. And then being like, well, okay, let's do it. Let's sign myself up for eternity. There's that to it as well. Which I think is me projecting a little bit as well. Like a lot of the dysfunctional stuff I think I've had in relationships, I can so see in this film in both characters, in both of them. And yeah, that kind of being unsure if you still should be with someone, but knowing that it's the right thing to do, or trying to figure out your feelings and trying to save them from hurt by prolonging something, and knowing afterwards that was totally the wrong way to go about it. I don't know, I see all of those little threads that you can pull at as well for the negative side of it, which I'm sure I absolutely know you will as well.
No, I mean when one of the repeated sort of gags or motifs or whatever is early on, where they have a bit of a kind of I was going to say tryst, but I don't think that's the word. They have an argument, is what I'm trying to say. They have a fight.
Tryst is the opposite of a fight.
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, woo, that ain't it. That's not it at all. They were not having a tryst. They were having the opposite of a tryst. And she kind of says, do you want to split because it'll be easier to do it now than it will later? And that takes on a double meaning, where they are literally merged, and it will be tougher to split if they have their skin merged together. But then you could also take that right to the ending, right? And if you look at that merging of physical bodies as a metaphor of getting so far gone that everything about your life and personality is entwined with something else, the more that you go into one of these relationships that you're not 100% in, the messier it gets if you ever have to split. And I'm sure a lot of people out there just go, I cannot be bothered with the upheaval that this would cause, so I'm gonna just ride it out for convenience sake. And that is such a shame that is an endpoint in a reality for so many romantic relationships.
Yeah, and yeah, you're so right. It's not subtext; it's literally right there. I'm like, well, I interpreted this very carefully, but yeah, it is absolutely right there. And I just think that's where the horror is for me. It's it is what it says on the tin, and there is that there is that beautiful merging, coalescing, becoming one, and it should be a beautiful thing. But is it in this situation? Is it? That's the question that always gets me. Is it? And I think looking at the other characters that merge in the film kind of informs my opinion on that as well. Because the very first thing we see when it comes to the merging is the dog drinking the water, being taken back to the kennels, and then becoming some thing-flavoured multi-dog beast that's disgusting and horrifying. And then the next one we see is the campers who have been lost in the woods for far too long, went into the cave for shelter and started merging, and we find them as evidence of what this thing can do, and they look revolting. There's this gorgeous practical effects, disgusting little beast with two backs that's been made and kind of is crawling around in this cave screaming and yelling. And then we see Jamie and his partner at the end of it all, and he's got 2 wedding rings on, the pictures of his partner, them talking about it being this beautiful, gorgeous thing that they do together that brings them close. But it's we've seen all the evidence beforehand of how horrible this is and how dehumanizing it is. And are you just saying that now because there's no way back?
I think it is important to look at those failed attempts and also the teacher, the guy who has merged, who's kind of like selling Millie on this, especially because I only noticed. Well, I didn't only notice last night, but I kind of realized that my own optimistic bubble had been burst because all of the things that I was maybe taken away or trying to look at naively are said by him. Like, he's the one who talks about it's the ultimate intimacy in divine flesh. He's the one trying to convince Millie to, like, go through with it. He's talking about, like, how much he loved his partner and I was me because of him. He says the words, complacency can be harmony. So is it, like, a speech? Is it an argument to kind of rob these characters of their own identity? You know what I mean? Like, because you are getting this from a more overtly cultish character with ulterior motives that we never get to really understand or view, I suppose. I guess that adds to the ambiguity of everything, right? And like you said, is the ultimate end. How do you view that? Do you view it as a nice thing? Do you view it as a wrong thing? I thought it was really interesting in that same interview with Dave Franco and Alison Brie in The Guardian. They talk about codependency. I thought that was really interesting. Alison Brie says, quote, dealing with monogamy and codependency and then extrapolating it to its most outrageous conclusion is kind of like what they envisioned the ending as. And they go on to say, after the shoot, Alison Brie, quote, had become more codependent because we were immediately separated for work reasons and I didn't like it. And the article goes on to explain that, like, a codependent relationship isn't usually seen as, like, a good thing. It's usually seen as just like a really imbalanced sort of situation where that is quite toxic. So I thought it was just interesting to see them use that word to describe something that they view as quite optimistic and in good overall, because you could just say, this is, like you said at the start of this discussion, you know, it's really toxic, it's really not good, it's codependent. It's a bad ending. It's a downer ending. It's the worst result for them both in that regard.
Well, I mean, even at the end, right? I think this kind of, even at the end, when he could let her go, he could live his own life, he could separate from her, do the hard thing but the right thing, and let them both go separately. He brings her back to life and sucks her into his body. It's like, just let her go at that point. To me, that kind of vibe. It's like, yes, they both want it, but it's the one thing that they need to stay alive. Whereas it's like, just die.
Ash, is it not a romantic gesture? You know, you don't want to. You're not only saving someone's life, and it's not because you feel like it's the right thing to do, because you're willing to make that commitment that you mentioned. You know, you're willing to finally take that step and commit, and you're doing it with sound mind, and you're doing it because you want to do it. I'll bum myself out if I don't believe in the goodness of that and the horrific reality that it might not have been done in sound mind, that it might not have been done for the best reasons. Almost depresses me too much, because I really like these characters and I want some semblance of a happy ending for them. So I think maybe I'm sort of trying to argue against my own internal logic to try and find some light in this otherwise
it might be a
ending.
happy ending. It might be a happy ending. You know, they willingly did it together. They became the new person. They managed to do it. So maybe it's a happy ending. I tell you what, one thing I'm really pleased about with this film is there's no, like, I know she works as a teacher, but there's no children involved at all. It's not like family planning. It's not like having a child makes them complete and brings them together as a family unit. It is about purely romantic love between two adults and getting their shit together before anything else. I do really like that is kind of the central push of this. It's like, you know, when people are struggling, so they have a baby to kind of make it stick. You see that as a trope all the time. This is kind of like that, but on a hardcore level, because it's like, okay, a little piece of me and a little piece of you, this is what gets born. But instead it's like, no, we'll just do that at the molecular level instead.
No, I like that a lot. I hadn't actually thought about it, but it makes perfect sense. And I think that's also maybe something I gravitate towards in this relationship, also someone who doesn't have like children and has never really thought about having children or whatever, and to be like, okay, this is a different kind of relationship to what I'm used to seeing. It's still about people who are, late 30s or whatever it is, mid 30s, but they don't have the kind of general life that is often portrayed in fiction, I suppose. And I think that even goes down to some of the characterizations of the two leads. Like we talked about, like the gendered nature of some of Tim's insecurities, let's say. But I also like the sort of subversion that, like in so many films or books or whatever it is about relationships, we always end up talking about sex, right? We always end up talking about, like, how important is sex to this relationship? That form of intimacy, what do people get out of it beyond just like the immediate pleasure of it? Like, what does someone get emotionally from it? And so often it's like it's the man in the relationship, or it's the masculine person in the relationship, and it's like, okay, they're the ones pushing for this, and it's the woman, it's the wife who hasn't had sex in a long time, and she's lost that kind of sex drive, and she's lost that interest. But here, I really like that they do flip it, and it's Alison Brie's Millie who is like kind of more interested in sparking that dynamic up again, just because she seems to be portrayed as a more physical person generally, and she gets a lot of emotional, like, I don't know, vindication is probably the wrong word, but you know what I mean, like the satisfaction that comes with not just sharing a life with someone, but having that literally like skin on skin intimacy, which of course is, actually taken to the extreme level in this film, like in made literal in other ways. But I just thought that like sort of small subversion was quite pleasant and really welcome in a genre that would usually play that quite straight down the gender role expectations.
Yeah, definitely. That is really nice. And obviously it leads us really funnily into talking about the hog again. The hog is here. So within this film, there is a scene where Dave Franco goes to catch a train to play his little songs with his band and goes, "Oh, actually, I need some loving," and like runs over to Alison Brie at the school full of children and takes her and boinks her in the boys' bathroom, and and upon finishing, they have become stuck together by slimy, silky mildew. Just see your face looking like you're gonna sick.
It's just. It's bad. It's bad. Sorry, continue.
No, that's it, really. And you get this full frontal shot of Dave Franco's implied. It could be his, but well, we know it's not, but because I've got a fact about it. But you see the shaft in the minge, and it's stuck there, and they're trying to rip it out of each other, and it's not really working. So and then a child comes in and is like, "Why are there two pairs of feet in the bathroom?" and goes and gets Jamie, the cult man, and he comes in and is like, "What are you doing in here?" And they manage to get away with it, but only just by virtue of pretending to have a period. So
yes, this kind of brings us to the less heavy, I would say less heavy, but then we're talking about like direct knob terror and genital horror. But
in a primary school as well.
This is a stressful film even without getting into the thematics of the interpersonal relationships, and I think this scene sums it up. It's just so well done. Like it's schlocky in and of itself, like in terms of how graphic it is, but it's like so well constructed. Like it is so intense. You not only have like the actual visceral reaction of seeing penis in minge action, as you so eloquently described it. You get like you said, like the wider intensity of knowing someone is about to come to this bathroom and maybe find them in this precarious state. You get the excellent sound design when you actually get the separation, and that just accentuates how horrifying and visceral the whole scene is. And I think it's funnily enough, like a great summation of just how good the movie is at evoking horror and really capitalizing on all of its good ideas. Because in like lesser hands, that wouldn't work as well. Like I think you can. There's a way where that scene is executed poorly and it takes you entirely out of the film. In this film, though, it is so believable's maybe not the right word, but you are immersed in it. Like, you are immersed in every second that goes by. And even as we speak, I am, like, nervously picking at my hands because I'm nervously picking at my hands because I'm, like, just imagining it and remembering it. And I only watched it last night, you know?
Yeah, that scene stressed me out so much. I was glad for a bit of like comic relief by seeing The Shaft because I was like, please control yourselves, guys. That like they make Alison Brie like so down for it because she's been so sex starved that she's like, okay, I guess that's fine. And he's like turned into an animalistic like predator, not in the sense of, you know, being a predator, but like the prey and predator vibe. But yeah, he's just like, I gotta do it and I gotta do it now. And yeah, the stress of that, oh my god, they play it out so well. But did you know, so Michael Shanks is our director. This was his feature-length debut film, which I think is mad impressive. So written and directed by Michael Shanks. But the fun fact is for Michael Shanks' partner called Louis McNamara, and she was working for a sex toy company at the time, and that is how they got this lifelike genitalia prop. It was a sex toy from McNamara's work that they got for free, and they just stuck some pubes on it, and that was how they made it look like a hog. But yeah, it's literally just like some mad dildo schlong that they put some pubes on.
I love that that's practical. I was really worried it was going to be entirely CGI because, you know, I'm not a pubes expert. You know, I haven't got a PhD in pubes, but there's some unbelievable pube work. Yeah. Some pube makeup on that close-up of it that impresses me every time. And I'm always looking at the wrong thing. I'm like, those are really lifelike. Those are really well done. So big congrats to the makeup department and also getting that very realistic dildo in there.
Yeah, I tell you what, the best prosthetic hog I've seen in a while. Actually, 2 prosthetic hogs that I've seen recently, and yes, I do keep account. The one I was talking about, I'll mention second. So the first one, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Have you been watching that?
Oh, I've not, no.
Oh my god, okay, it's the new like Game of Thrones spin-off. It's just had its season finale, so it's all out now. Big recommend. It's like 40 minutes an episode and only 8 episodes, I think, in the season, so really, really watchable. And there's just this random scene for no reason where our hero's mentor, it's a flashback to our hero's mentor, and he comes out of a like little tavern place where he's obviously just been mad shagging and just his knob is just out, and it's like the length of me. It's like, it's huge. It's like swinging around his knees, and he just pisses out of it and then goes back in. So you see, like it's like a fully functioning one because you see the piss come out as well, which I thought was very impressive. Yeah, and I tell you
really
what,
impressive.
The other pissing prosthetic knob that I saw, I was really impressed by, was at the Paranormal Activity live experience. They've done a theatre show. And me and my partner were sat in the audience, and they put us right on the end of the row, right near the front. And it's like this massive house construction with different rooms that you watch. Very innovative. I cannot recommend it enough. I thought it was amazing. Had loads of fun. But one of the early scenes is the guy going to the bathroom, and me and my partner were positioned so perfectly to see him whip out the prosthetic penis and piss out of it. So you just see him holding the tip, and you get to see it happen again. And I was like, what the hell? That's amazing. Like, it's just so crazy how much these things have advanced.
How certain are we that in that case it was a real prosthetic? Are we certain?
I am certain, because we did, fortunately, because we were so close. Like, it would have been totally seamless from far away, but because we were so close, I did see him get it out of his pocket and put it back in his pocket. Very well. Magic. Yeah, very well. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't upset with it. I was like, okay, I didn't just see Spinas.
That's good.
But
because
I could have, though.
One of my least favorite things to see on camera, both in real life but mostly in films, is seeing a guy have a wee and it is lingered upon. There's something about it. I don't even mind it. In real life, I go into a shared toilet, you know, I'm at the urinal next to someone, don't think twice about it. I see it in a film. Yeah. And it's like the sound effects. It's like the unbuckling of the belt. It's like putting the fly down. It's the pittle splashing off the urinal. It's just like the probably grubby guy that we're focused on. Something about it. It puts the willies in me in the worst possible way. I bloody hope not. I bloody hope not.
We're getting the willies out of you, gets the willies in you. But yeah, nice. Oh man, see, I'm fascinated. As a non-penis haver, I'm fascinated. Every time there's a wee scene, I'm like, this is cinema. This is cinema. This is something I would never see. Yeah. And like, I think I recommended Oxide Room 104, the horror game, to you so many times because the opening scene is you get to control a wiener pissing into the toilet, but like, it's just full hog out, control the piss. Stream.
Yeah, man. Why do you think I never played it? You know, 5 minutes. It was like, that's enough. That is enough.
Play it. The hog graphics are crazy.
It's probably my least favorite bodily function to see depicted in any media. Don't know why, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I again in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I saw pure shit come out an arse. And
what is going on in this program? What's happening?
And that I really didn't like that. I really didn't like it. I thought it would amuse me as somebody who enjoys this stuff, and it did not amuse me. Oh my god, the long walk is what I was actually thinking of as well. With they're just walking and shitting pure.
Yeah,
that was
that. I laughed at that, like in a good way. I thought that was like really good and funny and intense. To shit while moving. I don't know if you've been playing Resident Evil 9 Requiem. No spoilers, but a little detail that I like is that the zombies have shat themselves and they have a disgraceful behind and disgraceful undergarments on. So I got a lot out of that as well. Yeah,
I need to Ash, play some more.
Unless we've, I want to go back to the film if you permit me and stop talking about piss and shit and knobs and everything else that comes with them.
Well,
no, I just want to go back to that.
Yeah.
No, go on, unless you've got something else to add.
No. Do you want to lead us there, or do you want me to give you a fact that will lead us there?
Yeah, give me a fact. Come on.
Okay, I'll give you a fact. So, speaking on prosthetics, because this is the segue, we're talking about prosthetics. The arm sawing scene, I think, is the other one to talk about, because that was another fantastic practical set piece where Dave Franco, Alison Brie are sat straddling each other, tied together by the arm, trying to chainsaw themselves free after taking muscle relaxants to be able to stop themselves from merging fully. So they have their arms attached, and in the actual filming of this took hours and hours and hours because prosthetics take bloody ages to get on. Excuse the pun. So bloody ages to get on anyway, because it's just a massive like art performance to get them on someone. So you think hours and hours and hours to get them on. Hours and hours to film this very high intensity, sweaty, bloody scene. So they were merged together for so long that like they mentioned this a lot in interviews and at the little PR screening that I went to that they were at.
Oh, I forgot you did that actually. Yeah. I'm very jealous.
They were mentioning it there as well about like how they had to sit on Brie was on Franco's lap so long that he was like, "You're killing my legs," and she was like, "You just have to do it for a bit longer." So they were like uncomfortable and hating each other, but felt like they could make it work because they were in a relationship. So they knew all these worst parts about themselves. But this is how it links back to our previous talk. They had to use the bathroom together. They had to go to the bathroom breaks together.
No way.
Yeah, because they were just tied together. So we're like, right, well, I guess we'll just piss tandem then.
Very lucky that they're actually going out in real life, because that would have made for an awkward break in filming. I like that. You know what? That actually does kind of segue into what I was going to talk about, because it's that like sense of intimacy, right? That I actually really I love the idea of them pissing together. I think you've reached a new plane of existence when you get to that point. Mm-hmm. And you know, when we were talking about like the sex scene and stuff, I'm going to say something now, and it promise it's not an allusion to my own sex life or anything like that. It's not. But like, for me in a relationship, trying to navigate this without putting my foot into it. For me in a relationship, right, and not even a romantic one, whether it's platonic or a friendship, whatever it is. Like if I really connect with someone, I really value that like intimate, like not just touch, but like presence. And I know I've definitely seen some people talk about this before, mostly guys who are like, yeah, man, I'm really big on intimacy. And what they really mean is like, I like to have a lot of sex, right? I like to have a lot of sex. And it's a nice way to get a lot of sex, to say that, you know, that's what I'm here for. But I'm like, to me, like, the ultimate form of, like, connection with somebody, no matter who it is like being on a couch and sort of having your legs kind of touching. And there's nothing sexual about it. You're just, like, comfortable within someone's presence. And I think the more I've gotten older, the more, like, I just know that that's kind of how I myself like to share a connection with someone, or like to show that intimacy through, like, actual touch. And it's weird for me because I actually I don't like it with people that I don't reach that level with, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not much of a hugger in real life. I don't really like to hug people. If I'm having a bad day and someone hugs me, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this. I don't get anything from this. I really appreciate the sentiment, but I'm just kind of like, I want anything but other than a hug right in that moment, apart from those people where I feel like we've reached this place together, if that makes sense. And I think there's something about watching together and this real intense physical intimacy that these people have, where maybe that's why I kind of view it as maybe more optimistic or whatever, because I know that I can not be like that in a sense, but that's how I show that connection, you know?
Yeah, and that's so interesting because I'm the other end of the spectrum where, like, a lot of my partners have been big. Like, my love language is physical touch. Like, I would love to, like, be touching your hand or sitting together. And, like, I like that and I value that. Absolutely. There's no way I'm not, like, a touchy person, but I do hit a limit and need my space as well. Like, I'm very much like, this is my space. We can share this space. And then I will go back to, like, where I want to be for a bit. And it's so interesting to hear it from the other side, where it's like, I super value that, like, special relationship where, like, physical touch is this all powerful thing. And, like, for me, that's there as well, but it's definitely, like, a different thing where I really value being given my own space and still feeling intimate with someone. Like, I need my zone. I need my own chair. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, but we're in the room together doing something. We're having a bit of parallel play. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that to me is, like, incredible intimacy when we don't even have to touch and we can be quiet together and they leave me alone.
No. I think you're spot on. Like, that idea of, you know, you can be just quiet. You can just be with someone and there's no strange edge. There's no worrying. There's no whatever it is. It's just, okay, we can exist together. Yeah. It's so rare to just be able to exist together with someone in a way that you both feel comfortable with. And I think that is definitely, like, I don't know, something that I've experienced and saw in this film. But like you mentioned, you know, people, rightly so, don't want or maybe value that, like, physical connection as much as others. And it's like, as someone who does, you have to kind of understand that, no, man, like this is where we negotiate this. People have their own preferences, their way of I wouldn't say exploring, that's not it. Like, conveying themselves, and it might not be exactly the same way that you do. So just because they're not doing the same back to you or whatever doesn't mean that something's wrong. It's just this dynamic is complicated, and not everyone values the same things, and not everyone wants to show what they're feeling in the same way. Like you mentioned there, sometimes the most romantic or intimate thing you can do is just sit next to each other and both enjoy whatever you're doing and enjoy the company that you have, but not have it be this as it is in Together intermingling of everything about you.
Yeah, in it, like that. I do think it's like, it's my overstimulation nightmare Together. Like, thinking about, like, I love the phrase of being like that, and that place where you're in a honeymoon period where you're like, this isn't close enough, like, we must be together, using the title as the word, but yeah, you know, we must do this. But importantly, I just usually, and most of the time, I'm incredibly overstimulated by the thought of being, like, touched all the time. And I think as well, I'm just fully using this as a therapy session. I think, like, as well, that's been, like, weaponized against me. And I know a lot of women in my life as well who it's like, being touchy-feely or having that kind of onus and expectation on being intimate is there silently and oppressive, and it makes you feel really like, oh, like I like it, it's like this intensity that you just like need a bit of a break from, and I don't think that's kind of put out there as much in Together, but there's like shades of it, especially when like Dave Franco's like, right, we're going to do it right now, and I want it, so we're doing it, like sort of thing. And she's down for it, and she's like, oh yeah, cool. But you know what I mean? Like it's like that kind of that intensity of emotion, that expectation that's there, and then afterwards she's like, that isn't like, you know, how I wanted this to go. Like I'm down for it, but also like, can we meet in the middle, or you know, give me some space at work? Yeah. Which you know, I'm probably not saying in the right way, but it's just another part of it where I think, the idea of merging with someone forever, just like, I'm itchy. Like
I said, I think it's spot on, especially like you mentioned with like those unspoken expectations or what have you, or an expected way, like I was saying, to display affection towards someone else. It's so much onus is put on that physical touch, whether it's sex, whether it's just the act of hugging, cuddling, kissing, whatever it is, right? And the reality is that is one way to do it. You know, that is one way to do it. But the expectation of having that reciprocated, or the expectation to even being open to that physical connection, is kind of like wrong to have that, because it's like, no. It's a lot to ask of someone, you know, is what I'm trying to say.
It's like being a cat, I think. Like, you know, they just decide when and where you have a little stroke, and then they bite. That's how I've had to live my life. But yeah, I think we've talked a lot about like the gorgeous horror of Together and all the things we really liked. Is there anything you didn't like about Together?
Oh, you know what? No, I think it's really good. No. I think the cult stuff just about rides the line for me. When I watched it for the first time and we started going heavy on the cult stuff towards the end, I worried it would veer off a little bit, because I love me some folk horror, I love me some cults, but sometimes I think you can go a little bit too far with it and over-explain the mysticism of something. But I think here they just about get it right, in that you know enough, but so much is still unexplained. I do wish we had more nightmare scenes. We haven't really talked about those, but
oh my god, yes.
Some of my favorite moments, one of my favorite scares, is when Dave Franco's character wakes up in the middle of the night and he sees his mother and father at the end of the bed, and it's unbelievably scary. Like the sound design, the look of it, it's incredible. And those are like the most effective scares for me. So when they go away and we've kind of focused on the body horror bit, I wish you still had that element of surreality to everything that was going on, because those sections they're not necessarily plot heavy or anything. You could probably cut them and not lose too much from the film, but you would like lose that just terrifying edge it has.
Oh my god, yes, I absolutely agree. Like the only thing I wrote is the marketing very much hyped it up as an intense body horror experience, and like it is, but it's a lot more cerebral than just kind of mashing body parts together for a lot of it. So I'd have liked a few more actual like bloody, nasty, cutting open, horrible bits, you know, get real nasty with it. But I totally agree, I would love more nightmare sections. I would love for this kind of part of Dave Franco's character to be absorbed by Alison Brie, and we see her kind of dealing with the trauma of that as well. Kind of this, if you're going to share everything, if you want everything, you've got to get all the worst parts too. I think that would have been a really fun way of doing it. But you've only got so much time in so much film, and this is a great length film as well. I don't think anything necessarily should be like cut out in favour of it. I don't mind the cult stuff. Personally, because the cults
where's this going?
The cult's like main mantra being that like in ancient Greek proverb is that we were actually beasts with 4 arms and 4 legs, and then they were cleaved apart and forced to look for their other half for the rest of their lives, was my like it was my Tumblr page bio for ages. It was like,
Shut up,
I
no
loved
way.
it. I thought it was so romantic and a bit beastly. I thought like, oh, it's a little bit spooky, but it's a bit beastly. So when that came up in Together, I was like, oh my God, like, I loved that proverb when I was younger.
That's hilarious, man. And that's actually given me a good insight into your history, because it indicates that you were once this romantic, who believed in this idea of fated love and...
Oh my God, yeah.
Life.
When I say men ruined me, but I don't mean all men. I just mean it, like some men ruined it. So, I think it's a hard thing that we all go through with different relationships, and some people are blessed to never have the kind of the nasty part of it, but like, yeah, there's just been enough experiences where I'm like, I'll be careful now, if you know what I mean. And that's been a good thing. I think it's like, I think I was a super hyper romantic, or like believed in those things and had such big feelings because, and that's not to say I don't believe in them now, but I had such big feelings, and I have such big feelings, because I didn't know who I was yet as well. I was figuring myself out, and it seems so much easier to try and figure someone else out than it does yourself, and figure out your relationship to someone else than it does to look inwards. And I think being able to spend that time with myself and learn who Ash is, separate to all of the ancient Grecian monster proverbs, has been, the best part of it. I feel like I can be that person again now that I have gone through the bit of being like, actually, I need some time, which happens to everyone, And even in relationships, you're like, actually, I need to go and figure myself out for a bit. Like, I still love you, but I need some figuring out room, and then we can tag team this again.
You're being vulnerable, right? Like, you are like the act of entering a relationship with whoever is opening up that vulnerable part of yourself. So if that ever gets exploited, if that ever gets treated bad, it stings tenfold, right? Because you have made that leap, and you have not been caught on the other side, or whatever it is. So
I take getting hurt very personally. Vengeance.
Hey.
Crimes.
Yeah, vengeance, crimes.
Yeah.
As you should as well, as you should, because some people don't understand the consequences. Eh?
Yeah. I'll merge them. Watch out.
Exactly. I know a cult that can do some things for me with some strange gammy water from a cave that I can sell you and swap into your drink.
Ew. With a dog as well. There you go.
With a dog.
Yeah, get merged with a dog.
The dog.
Get merged.
The dog is so good. What a good looking film this is as well, generally. I just love the way it looks. I love the way it sounds. Like you said, the fact that this is a directorial feature-length debut is crazy. I also just found that out last night and could not believe it almost, because I was thinking, oh, I love this movie so much. What else has Michael Shanks done? Maybe I'll go back and watch his older films. And there are no older films. There are short films, but this is like the first, hopefully, of many to come, because what a statement it is.
For sure. He did so well. Our boy did so well. He's another one I think we'd be friends with. Michael Shanks, our guy.
I think so. Michael Shanks, get him on the show.
Get him on.
We can talk about, we can have a therapy session with Michael Shanks. Also, Australian, which made a lot of sense, because Australian horror is so good, at least from what I have seen.
It is. My dad always says this, right? Because he's like, I want to watch an Australian horror film tonight, and he always says it like with the thickest black country accent. It's like, I want to watch an Australian film tonight. So we try and find one because they're so brutal. Like, it's just that really bleak, like, it's got that like British bleakness about it, but desert, like, different environment, kind of like, I guess as British people, exotic, because it's like deserts and hotness and all these strange creatures that are familiar yet not, and it's the other side of the world and that kind of thing. So there's definitely that sensibility of people being like, oh yeah, Australia, strange place, but just like the sensibility towards their horror of it being so bleak and nasty and kind of right on the nose. I watched another Australian horror film yesterday that it actually really reminded me of as well when I think about it in depth, which actually probably leads us into the connected horror bit. But it was called Bird Eater. It's on Shudder at the moment.
Not familiar with it, no.
It's about a doomed relationship as well. So I don't want to give too much of the game away, but like the opening gambit is we've got an Australian man in Australia and his partner is British, and they're living out there. Something strange is going on with their relationship. She has terrible anxiety, can't be away from him, and has to take like a pill every time that he leaves so that she goes to sleep. And he invites her on his stag do, and they're going to spend the time together, and basically it's like the past gets uncovered as we go through this stag do, and it's lots of very abrasive characters, like not nice people, but all in different ways and all doing different things wrong and all like letting themselves and their other halves down. And we get these like two women because someone else has brought their partner along as well, and just like they're them constantly being let down by strangeness, but you don't see the full picture of it until the end, where you can look back and go, yeah, that was pretty bad. Like, and
Ooh,
like
I love the sound of
it
this.
is bad as well. So it's like it's a really interesting one, and it feels so Australian as well because of the way that it's like it's not nice, it's heavy hitting. There's a bit of like comedy like sewn into it, which makes it somehow worse because you're laughing and you're like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, so yeah, big love for Australian horror.
Like you said, I think one thing we've not touched on with Together is like it's a funny film.
Yeah,
Like it has moments of levity that really work and don't take you out of it. Like some great callbacks, some great one-liners here and there, and even that interpersonal dynamic between the two leads. Like when Tim is being a dick, he's often being a dick in really funny and relatable ways, So that element of kind of Aussie bleakness with these punctuations of comedy, I think that's that sounds perfect. I hadn't heard of that, but now I'm really interested in it. One that I kind of want to throw in that's a little tenuous, but it's similarly an Aussie horror is Bring Her Back, which came out last year or the year before.
Good.
That's not about a relationship, but it does trade in similar themes. There is a sort of cultish element to it as well that's kind of portrayed sort of similar, but it has that like grounded personal horror that I think Together has as well. In this case, it's a kind of like a foster mother who takes in two orphaned kids, and the relationship between the kids feels so real, and when stuff starts going wrong, as is the Aussie way, like they don't pull any punches, like some bad stuff goes down with these characters, and you feel it all the more because like Together, you are so invested just in their normal drama. Like even if there was nothing horrific happening, you'd want these people to succeed and their conditions to get better, and then when they're thrown into this absolutely crazy situation where they are going to meet violence, it just compounds it so much more. Like I think any film that makes you care about the characters, it sounds so simple, but like anything that makes you invested in the characters before you even get to the horror, I think that's just amazing. And I think one of my favorite things about Together is that if I put it on and you kind of said, "Oh, Josh, you've made a mistake. It's like not a horror film. It's just a drama about these two characters," I'd be disappointed, but I'd go, I'm going to keep watching.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep watching that because that element is done well enough, and it is definitely done well enough in Bring Her Back as well.
Oh God, Bring Her Back so good. That's a great shout because it's just a great film. I think you could put that on all of them and be like, well, it relates to Bring Her Back because we like it.
Yeah.
The other one I've got for you is The Empty Man. Have you seen The Empty Man?
I have, but
You're gonna
tell
have
me how that's
gonna
connected.
You're gonna have no memory of it because the rest of the film, I don't care. I'm just talking about the opening.
The opening's the best bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You only watch the opening
Yeah.
IMO, but
I went back and watched the first 20 minutes again the other day, and I was like, this is such an incredible film for 20 minutes. Like, I don't care about the rest, but literally just. Oh my God. The first time watching The Empty Man and seeing that opening and the harrowing sense of like gut dread that I had from how they do that opening like cave scene and the discovery in it. that felt very together to me. Like when we see the opening, they're in a cave, something strange and supernatural happens, and then we get the dog scene afterwards. I think just the strength of that opening gambit of being like, this is the flavor of what you're going to get, and this is how we're going to dive into it with this strange, like, supernatural edge, and knowing that things are going to get awful. And it's just kind of this like premonition of terribleness. It's like kind of this doom, I think is the best way of describing it. It's just like doom. The Empty Man, that opening. Oh my god, I love the opening of the Empty Man. And I think Together like has flavour of that in the way that they've shaped this cave and the way that they have shaped the way that it works, the pulsating scene where it's like breathing with them, and how like wet and sticky it is, and like almost eldritch, and like the sense of doom that they put on the puddle of water. Like it's literally just some water, but the way that they use visual language to make it feel like this most insidious acid in the world, I just think the two felt very intertwined for me in a way that was super positive. I was like, the Empty Man opening, big recommend. If you like Together, watch 20 minutes of the Empty Man.
Nah, you know what? I was wondering where you were going to go with that and how you're going to connect them, but I think I hadn't thought about that at all, but I think you're absolutely spot on. Like, the way that you're introduced to the sense of doom, like you mentioned, with these effigies, with this strange location, with the physicality of those locations. Yeah, I think I totally get you. That absolutely comes through. It's not one that I would necessarily recommend to be exactly with Together, but in a similar way, it reminds... Oh, no, the Empty Man. Yeah, go for the Empty Man.
I thought I was like, okay.
Oh, no. No, yeah, by the way, Ash, I think your recommendation sucks and you should listen to me instead. No, I mean, the Evil Dead 2013 reboot, in a similar way when it comes to like the physicality in Doom, for some reason, both times when I watched Together, I kind of thought about that a lot, and I think it is that, it's the wetness, it's the practical stunts by the actors who are clearly throwing themselves into this film and getting down and dirty with like the special effects and not just handing it off like they could, because they're, you know, these Hollywood stars, they're really going through the ringer, and that comes out in the film itself for sure. You feel that. I've got one more to add in, and it's just a book. It's called Absorbed, and it's got such a similar premise, it's actually kind of ridiculous. Absorbed is essentially what would happen after the end of Together. So it's about these characters in a relationship, this female lead, and in the opening chapters, she's having like these insecurities about her boyfriend. She kind of has a lot of flaws, and she kind of just wants she wants to essentially be this person and have her entire world surround him and his entire world surround her, and she absorbs him one night in bed, and
go girl.
I know, right? I know. And she spends the rest of the book, one, coming to terms with that and kind of like how it felt and the kind of real body horror of it. And then she starts absorbing other things as well. And it's not the... If I was to recommend you one book to read ever, it probably wouldn't be that. It had some parts that I didn't necessarily get on with, but it is a great... companion piece to Together, I think, that touches on a lot of the similar themes and is able to dive into them a bit deeper in terms of the psychology that we've been talking about, especially in the exploration of relationships and using it as a metaphor. It is a good book for sure. So it goes so well with Together. It's almost kind of crazy.
I love the sound of that, like it being the aftermath of it. Oh my god, do you remember we did one video when I was at What Culture with you, and it took us all ages to like brainstorm it, and it was like films that are better films than the actual films that they were. Do you know what I mean? It was the most convoluted title, but it was like how Willy's Wonderland is the perfect Five Nights at Freddy's film, more so than Five Nights at Freddy's is. Like the vibe of this is giving like Absorbed is the Together book. You know what I mean? Books it is more film than the films are.
Yeah, literally. If you're watching Together, you're like, this body horror is kind of like freaking me out, and I don't want to see a lot of blood. Yeah, and I want more of the psychological aspects. It's perfect for that. Every time you mention that we work together at What Culture, I'm like, Oh yeah, we did work together at What Culture.
Yeah.
That was another life ago. That was crazy.
We were such babies. We were so different. Like I feel like we've grown a lot in it. Like it's mad. It's mad because that was like the inception time of lots of things, and then growing into spooky little horror fans.
Genuinely, who would have thunk? Who would have thunk way back then we'd be sat here
Not me.
doing this podcast? Not bloody me, let me tell you that.
Not me. Joyce Manor ticket in the bin. Right. The other things that I wanted to mention for this. A stupid one. Oh my god, right. I've got like one held in my brain and I'm going to need to look at my phone
Go on then.
to just oh my god, that's it. I was trying to remember the name for Mr. Punk from Horror and I thought his name was MS Punk, but then I realised I was thinking of MS Paint.
Are you talking about what the hell are you talking about? CM Punk.
CM Punk.
The wrestler.
Yeah, and he did a horror movie called this is what I need to Google because I've forgotten the name
There's
of it.
something in the house. It's something about a house.
It is something about a house, but it keeps just telling me about his new one, which is the night thing, Night Patrol, which I don't care about. I want to see the other one, which is the house one. But that one. Oh my god, come on.
Girl on the Third Floor.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, the house one. That is the wettest film I have seen in a long time. Like when I watched that, I remember thinking, "This is gooey." So that's just an offhanded one that I kept thinking about every time we said the film was wet. I was like, "Okay, it's giving Girl on the Third Floor," but I was thinking it's giving MS Punk. It's giving MS Punk.
That's an old What Culture thing as well with you, with the old wrestling names and trying to figure out them and pronounce them correct and not mess them up.
The only one I can get is Paul Bearer, and he's a manager, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he got buried, canonically, I think.
Did he?
In the show. I don't know, I might be making that up. I'm sure when I was a kid I remember him being buried alive, but I could be wrong. He kind of went hard.
He pops out of a coffin every now and then.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he got buried and sort of like came back. I've got one that I want to mention that I'm not going to go in too deep, as I will mention it on every one of these podcasts, as I have at you for many years now. But there is a movie. Out there called Bug. It is William Friedkin's. It's Willie. It's put the willies in me. It's William Friedkin's. You can tell we're getting to the end of this podcast. Bug, which is another two-hander, essentially.
Stop calling them two-handers, man.
What you mean? They're two-handers.
You always talk about hogs and then go, it's a two-hander, as if it's like a massive
I'm always talking...
hog.
Come on, I'm always talking about willies and then two-handers. You need to grow up. You need to grow up.
No! You are the one making it horrible.
It is a two-hander of a film between two people who get in a relationship, and again, it's kind of like the inverse of Together in that these people are unhinged, they are together for all the wrong reasons, and they essentially kind of go crazy in a hotel room with this potentially shared delusion that the guy, played by Michael Shannon, has, that he can see bugs everywhere in this apartment block, and he has some crazy conspiracy theories about why the apartment block is surrounded by bugs and infested by bugs. And again, it's kind of that idea of this codependent relationship and something taken to the extreme of merging identities and, becoming embroiled in someone's world to the point where you lose your self of sense and perspective entirely, and you kind of buy into something that is damaging, ultimately. Great film. I love that movie.
It is a good film. And I recommend it to people going, and this is a recommendation from Josh Brown that I would also, endorse. I would endorse this recommendation. You should watch Bug. I was doing it the other day, literally. I was like, well, the Josh Brown recommends this film. You might not know him, but you will when you watch Bug.
You will. I hate that, right? No, I think you're getting away with one there. I think you're doing that to be like, listen, this one's a bit of a risk. So
yeah,
if it's not good and you don't like it, it's not on me. It's for this guy called Josh Brown, who may or may not exist.
Well, actually, I recommended it to my friend Saz, who does know you, and it's because she has bug-related traumas. So I was like, "Watch Bug; it'll make you feel great." And she was like, "No, I'm never going to
You
watch
can't
the
do
film."
that. You can't do
Yeah.
that to someone with bug-related traumas.
No,
It would.
she's not a Bug fan.
Oh, you know what? I'll message her after this and be
Yeah.
like, "Don't watch Bug. Don't
Yeah.
watch Bug. Don't
Bug
do it."
trauma. Bug hater. Canonical bug hater. The last one I had was Midsummer, but yeah, we spoke about that earlier. But not for the boyfriend being bad, but for the overarching sense of trauma from losing a family in a very traumatic way. And this kind of like image of the carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide poisoning, with the pipe that kind of appears in the background at places, and we kind of have this very visceral nightmare trauma from Dave Franco's character with his mom and his dad as well. And I think that they lean on each other very much with that kind of sense of background thing. And you got this Rat King symbol and the rat and the scent of the rat and that kind of thing. Sorry, scent of the rat. And I think that that ties in a lot. And then the last thing that I wrote down was, have you do you like mobile games, Josh Brown? I feel like you do.
For the purposes of this, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well,
let's go yes.
there's one mobile game that's inescapable for all of us that comes up all the time, and I thought, you know what? I need to recommend a game. Necromerger.
What the heck is this? Necromerger. I feel like an old. I'm chopped. You know what I mean? Like, what is this? What are you trying to sell me right now?
I get recommended it all the time because I play lots
From
of
who?
I just play lots of really bad mobile games when I need to cool off. I'm like, I'm gonna just like play some drop the cat, and
This is new. You've never told me this before. Actually,
No,
this is a revelation.
it's
More
like
therapy.
I know it's like it comes and it goes. I have waves of being very indebted to like mobile Minesweeper as well, and Candy Crush. Like they come in waves. When I'm anxious, I'm like, I need to go and play a game. But
Fair
nothing with actual results that I can write about, just Candy Crush. But Necromerger came up all the time, and it's literally you play as a little necromancer, and it's just a Merge 3 game where it's just all little skeletons that you stick together to make bigger beasts. But I was like,
Right.
haha, it's merging.
I get it. Yeah,
That was it.
Necromerger.
Yeah.
I've only just got that. I was like, where the hell is this going? What is
Yeah.
this game? Why? We're not sponsored. Maybe we should be.
No.
Necromerger.
Oh my
Get
God.
in touch. Get us our very first sponsorship.
Please.
Ash needs it.
I
She
need
needs it.
Oh my God.
No, I have no idea about Necromerger.
No,
I will
it's-
echo what you said about Midsummer.
It's a silly one. It's a silly one.
In just that idea of like the trauma coming through. I think that's just so well done in
Yeah.
both films. And yeah, I had the same thought. The opening of that film is so evoked in here. And I think one of my favorite horror tropes is that idea of how trauma manifests in like waking nightmares at times. I'm sure it's something we'll touch on in a future podcast because it's trauma and grief are like, you know, like the topics of the past 10 years in horror. So it definitely will come up again. But yeah, those small snippets that we got here are so effective. And I guess I'm going to have to download Necromerger.
Yeah, I think that's what
Play
everyone
it on
should
the way
do.
home. Yeah, okay, that's the takeaway from this podcast. Yeah. Takeaway from this podcast, sack off your partner, download Necromerger, spend some time with yourself, find out who you are.
Keep a list of the best prosthetic penises because it will come up. There you go.
Yeah.
I do have one more. Sorry, I've said one more about 5 times.
Keep going. No.
But I thought about this earlier as well. I've pretended like it's just come to me, but I literally have it written down next to me. I wanted to come up with something that was outside of the film world, which is why I was thinking about Necromerger, because I was like, I'd like to think of a game that kind of feels like Together. And the closest I could come to it, and it's basically the healthy version of Together, if it weren't a body horror film or a something nasty. But the healthy version of Together, about 2 people being so in love that they combine and won't let go of each other, but like with full, like whole hog committal, is Banisher's Ghost of New Eden.
Oh, I've not played it yet, but
Yeah.
it's been on my list for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting game. I think it's a very loose connection. I won't lie. I don't think it's a very strong like build on together because there's so much interesting back and forth in that. But then Banishers does have its moments that I think really do. You could draw a line through with them because basically the premise is that we've got two characters who are banishers. They're like ghost hunters, supernatural helpers that go out and sort things out. Basically like witches, but they're called banishers in this old New England setup. And one, this isn't a spoiler because it happens very early in the game, one dies and their ghost becomes attached to their partner, and you play as both characters and can switch between them, and they have conversations with each other. And the aim of the game is to decide whether you're going to kill as many people as possible to harvest their souls to bring your partner back, or if you're going to play it as good as you can and then ascend her soul to heaven rather than deal with the things of that. And she wants to come back, right? Or she has her feelings about things.
Yeah.
So kind of deciding what's right and talking to her, and whether you should stay together and if you should, or if you should help people or not, I think has really interesting conversations back and forth about kind of this, there's one body between them, there's two minds, one body, and it's this kind of struggle as to what's the right thing, and the different powers that they have, because she's a very powerful spiritual character and he's like more of a tank. So being able to combine them and use their strengths, but also see their weaknesses when you're in the different modes as well. It's like a bit Lords of the Fallen-y, where you've got the two worlds and can do different things in them, but just in a body. So for a game with horror, like as its theme, I think Banisher's Ghost of New Eden is the closest I could draw on.
Oh, what a shout. Sounds absolutely, fascinating. I didn't know it had that element to it, to be fair. I'd heard a lot of people say it was like good and underrated and you shouldn't kind of overlook it, but I hadn't realised it had that emotional hook, and I like the sound of that a lot. Yeah. If we're throwing them in, I've got one more.
One more.
I got one more. I got one more thing. I've got to throw in Antichrist. Antichrist has to be mentioned, I think. Again, kind of like a concept like this taken to its bleakest extremes. It's about a couple who suffer this tragedy at the start of the film. Their newborn baby essentially dies, and they go off to this cabin in the woods to try and figure things out, and they both go completely unhinged, and it's about their relationship dynamics. It's about extreme body horror. It's from Lars von Trier, so if you watched any of his work, you'll know kind of what you're in for in terms of graphic extremity. It's not a film that I'm dying to watch again, and I wouldn't recommend to everyone, but if you wanted something a bit harder and a bit more just that will make you feel uncomfortable, if you came out together and said that scene with the penis in the minge was not hard enough for me, it wasn't extreme enough, the Antichrist will probably have something that puts the willies in you.
Yeah.
It's a two-hander as well, so there we go. Yeah,
I was going to say, Josh, tell the people that there's a penis in it and they will love it.
There's a penis and there's every genital under the sun in it, essentially.
Yeah, there's a lot of genital. But that's all the genitals we have time for today. So that was our little episode, our little talk on Together. Thank you so much for listening and or for watching. To everybody at home or in your car or wherever you are, thank you for listening to That's Sick. And hopefully you thought Together was sick too, because we certainly did. We will be back with more horror musings across films, games and everything else spooky very, very soon. But for now, I have been Ash. You can find me at Ash Millman. And this has been
Josh, and you can find me at Josh Brown, but you add an extra O on, so it sounds like Broon. Josh Broon. Broown. Newcastle Broon Ale. Woot.
Hoot and holler. And if you watched our pilot episode, that will make perfect sense to you as well.
Callbacks.
Woo! All right, see you next time. Thank you, guys. Bye!
See ya. Bye-bye.